Good morning, Romeo. How are you today?
Hey, John, I'm okay.
Um, there's a lot of people think you should just shut down Watson for the last three games to keep him from getting hurt. Have you thought about that? And if not, why do you think it's important to keep playing him?
Yeah, that question has been asked, John, and my deal is we're in this game. We play this game to win, and there's a season to be played. And if you shut down Watson, then should you shut down the rest of the team and everybody pack up and go home with 3 games left? You know, and we're in the NFL, and there are certain rules about playing. I think that probably if you shut down your team and left and didn't play the games, there'd be a tremendous fine involved. So we're going to play the games, and we're going to try to win as many as we can.
Aaron Wilson.
Hey, Romeo, losing Justin Reed and Brandon Dunn, your thoughts on the impact on your defense, and who would you want to fill in? Obviously, you have played Eric Murray and Lonnie Johnson and A.J. Alott at safety this year. Then would this increase Ross Blacklock's opportunities in the middle?
Anytime you lose, your starters who are good players, it has an impact. We have to kind of count on the guys we have available to step up and try to fill that void. And that's all that we could do at this point. And so some of those guys that you mentioned will get more playing time and have more opportunity to show what they can do.
Romeo, with the state of the defense here, is there an evaluation aspect to this too? I know you're going to try to win, but also to play young guys and just kind of see what you guys have for the future.
Well, when you talk about playing young guys, the young guys that we've drafted, basically all of those guys have played. They've been playing, So I don't know. I mean, on the other side of the ball, we might be able to play more guys to take a look at them, but I think that we have who we have, and as we go along, we will adapt as best we can.
Sarah.
Romeo, yesterday several of your players were at an event. They didn't have masks on the whole time. Did you see that? And if so, what was your reaction?
I did not see that. And I'm not with these guys 24/7. When they're here with us, we wear masks, and I encourage them to wear their mask. And I was not at that event, so I don't know what they were doing, why they didn't have them on, or anything like that.
Thank you.
John.
Romeo, I know all sacks are not the offensive line's fault, some of the quarterback's fault, but in the last two games, you guys have given up 12 sacks, and that was the same number as the previous 7 games. Are you alarmed about that, and are you worried that it can continue over the rest of the season, especially since 2 of the 3 teams you play are really good?
Yes, I'm definitely concerned about that because, 1, you don't want to give up sacks. 2, you as we mentioned, you talk about your quarterback getting beat up. You don't want that to happen. I think that, like you say, everybody is kind of involved, but most of it is on the offensive line because they're the ones who are tasked with the responsibility to protect the quarterback. And so we will continue to work to try to improve it. I think that if we don't get behind in games, that will help it because then we still have the offense available to us. Sometimes when you get behind in games and you have to throw all the time, your opponent knows that you have to throw, and then they don't worry about the run, and then they just come after your quarterback. So we have to do a better job overall of establishing a run, keeping the score manageable so that gives us a better chance to protect the quarterback.
Romeo, let me ask you one more thing, please. Last season, you had 4 running backs average 95 yards a game rushing. This year, you have 4 backs who've rushed for 57. That's almost 40 yards. Is it more a case of the backs, the line, and also you're on a pace to run fewer times in franchise history by a long shot? Is that because you got Watson and it's wiser to throw the ball with him?
Well, I think that has something to do with it, John, because we know that what he's capable of, and we've had success throwing the ball and not as much success running the ball. And so sometimes when you are doing something that you feel is successful, you keep doing it. And I think that's been the case with us this year, is we've been throwing a lot more than we've been running.
Aaron Reese.
Hey, Romeo, kind of along the lines with regards to the sacks. So you've been rotating your guards, but mostly it's been the left guard. I think you've taken Zach out a few times, but he's been pretty stable there. What have you, just relative to the rest of the guys at that position, what have you liked that you've gotten out of him that's kind of resulted in him, mostly staying in the game versus the other spot rotating a little bit more?
Well, he's probably has more experience overall, more consistent, and so we end up playing him a little bit more.
Mark Berman.
Romeo, on the subject of Deshaun playing, he said the other day that he wants to play. He said that he has too much respect for the organization and for himself not to be out there. How much does that play a role in your thinking as well that he wants to be out there?
Well, that plays a lot. I mean, you want players who want to be out there. And then you think about his role. He's the leader, and you want the leader to be out there leading your men. And so I applaud the fact that he wants to play and he wants to try to help his team, help the organization. And that's the way it should be. I mean, players want to play the game. If you're competitors, if you're not a competitor, then you would probably go over on the bench and sit down and wrap up and wait for the game to be over. Or either, as some people have suggested, not play him at all, and wait for the season to be over. But we're not going to do that. We're going to play, and we're going to play the best we can until it's over.
Brandon.
Romeo, you guys lost Justin Reed and Brandon Dunn. Could you speak to the impact that they have on the defense and what you guys plan to do to compensate for that?
Well, both are solid players, one up front and one on the back end. And it hurts when you lose solid players, guys who've done a good job for you and have been responsible, players for the team and for their unit. Replacing them will be tough, but we've got guys who've been working all year. And so we'll have to depend on those guys to step in and see how well they can help replace what we've lost.
Aaron Wilson.
Hey, Romeo, is David Johnson back in the building today? He was a close contact. Is he, under the timetable, is he able to be back and practice and be activated from the reserve COVID list?
He'll be back in the building today, but he'll be working with the trainers because he's been off for a while and they don't want to throw him out there in practice, without trying to get him up to speed.
And real quick, two ones. You talked about the Fritz Pollard Alliance a couple of weeks ago and the league's initiatives and trying to improve diversity. Eric Bieniemy is someone that has had several interviews. He hasn't, as of yet, landed a head coaching job. Just what do you think of Eric, and what do you think of some of that circumstances of a guy that's had a lot of chances, but it hasn't happened for him yet?
Well, I think that he has to continue to keep working because he has done a good job. He's with a good organization, and I can tell, even though Andy calls the plays, he relies on Eric quite a bit because they talk a lot, during the offensive sequence. And so when you talk about not having gotten a chance yet, the fact that you're getting chances and getting interviews means that people are talking about you. And eventually it's going to happen for you. And I think it'll happen for him as well, because, I had 8 interviews before I got a head job. So just keep working, keep doing what you're doing, winning Super Bowls, and go on.
And Dontrell Hill, can you tell us a little bit about him, just kind of your mini scouting report on your new running back that you guys picked up?
Yeah, basically a third down back who's been a returner, has some quickness, change of direction, has an opportunity to be more productive maybe in the kickoff return area, and then in the third down area as a third down back out of the backfield.
John.
Romeo, 10 days ago, you guys came real close to beating the Colts, and they go out to the Raiders and just obliterate them. playing them so quickly again, is that good to play them so close together, or does it not matter? And what do you expect from them based on what you saw against them with the Raiders?
Well, I thought that they did a good job versus Raiders. They did a tremendous job of taking advantage of what the Raiders gave them. Because the Raiders made a couple of mistakes early on in that game, but the game was close, I guess, for a half, within a touchdown. And then Indy pulled ahead afterwards. So I think that they realize that they are tied for the lead and they're playing for the division lead. And so they'll bring all of their guns into this game and they'll be ready to go. And as far as the way that we will respond, I hope that we will respond like we did 2 weeks ago and play a tremendous game. But after you flop, there is some consternation on my part about how we're going to do and what we're going to do, and so the big deal is the kind of week of practice we have and then the attitude that we have on Sunday as we go into the game.
What can you do as the coach to try to make sure the rest of the season and performances like you had at Chicago?
Well, I think the thing is you point out to the players where they are, what they need to do, show them what they have not been doing, show them what they've done in the past, and try to build on the things that are good things and try to eliminate the negative aspect of their game.
Brandon.
Romeo, Brandon Cooks was also at that event that Sarah asked you about earlier. I just wanted to get an update on him, if he's practicing, how he's looking in practice, and if you expect to have him on Sunday.
Okay, well, today is the first day that we get a chance to look at him, because we didn't practice on Monday and they were off on Tuesday. So today will be his first day in the building, and we'll have to see how he does at practice and what his reps look like. So tomorrow, our next time we talk, I'll be better able to answer that for you.
They're pretty good. All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right.